Hello again, it's Noob, and this is the second part of a two-part review of this Grimm Workshop SERE lock pick and escape kit. This is made up of 4 cards. These are the 2 which I'm going to review today, and previously in my linked video down in the description I did a review of these 2 lock pick cards, one with just rakes and one with just hooks. And even though these do look new in the packet, they have been taken out, they have been used, and they have been through a review already. So yeah, do go check that previous review out. These all come as a set of 4, or can be purchased individually by Grimm Workshop, who sent me this for review and to keep. So for full disclosure, I do have a bit of history with this set. All 4 cards were sent to me as preview versions and to other people as well for some feedback. As I explained in my previous video, some of the comments that I fed back, the changes may have been incorporated into these cards, some might not. Other people's views will have been incorporated too, so I'm just going to review them as they are, as they were sent. I otherwise don't have any other relationship with Grimm Workshop, and this isn't a paid review or anything like that. So yeah, where to start? Well, this is a very exciting card, so shall we start there? And by exciting, I mean it's got lots and lots and lots of things going on in there. This is what they call the Escape and Evasion card. Let me just pull this out and we can see some of the things which are, I don't know how they've done this, I'm guessing some kind of water jet. There we go. To make sure they can have 2 different thicknesses. So we have things like a saw, which I imagine, looking at these little holes, is to be used with something like a Kevlar thread. I've got some Kevlar here. We have a file, which is just a diamond hatched surface. We got what looks like a couple of basic handcuff keys. We've got, I'm just trying to think what else we do. We've got a little thing which here you can probably fold out, although if you did, obviously you'd have to fold it back again to press in the double locking mechanisms. We've got another padlock shim, a combination lock decoder, what looks like a pawl knife, although I don't know, maybe it's long enough and strong enough to be used as a shackle pawl bypass. I don't know, we'll have a look at that as well. We have some a little needle here. We have the card which can be used to wrap some cord around as well. We've got a latch hook and a blade, although I'll be honest, without sharpening it's probably not going to be too effective, but we'll have a look anyway and see where we get to. So yeah, a number of things going on this card, maybe a bit of redundancy as well. Let's break some of these things off, and oh, before I do, yeah, this is sticky, so that once you break these off you should be able to, maybe not quite as well, but you should be able to stick them back on to allow you to reuse this and put this back into a wallet. So that's everything removed from the card. It's quite flexible without anything in. This blade part, I don't know, it's probably okay for cutting something. Let's try and cut a bit of wood with this. This is only a popsicle stick, a lolly stick. I mean, it's doing something. I suppose if you want to just get some shavings to do some fire lighting, that it might work. You can see I've got some sawdust down here. It's definitely sharp enough to do something, but it's not sharp, if that makes sense. Let me go get like a vegetable. Maybe you can just like peel or slice a carrot or something with this. Let's go get one. Just realised I hadn't hit record, but let me just show you where I was going. So you can see here that I'm you can use it to sort of peel vegetables, but cutting, you can probably see from this angle. I'll try again on this carrot. Because it's so flexible, it's going to be very hard to do a straight cut. Now, Does it work? I mean, sort of. I would suggest that if you are at the point where this is the only blade available to you, unsharpened, yeah, that's going to be an issue, because one of the most important things in any survival situation is going to be a knife, and now got characters all over this slightly deformed card now. So I would suggest maybe not using it for that purpose unless you're really pushed. So I've got some Kevlar thread and this saw. I'm interested to know whether I can saw just even a popsicle stick with this. Okay, I've got some Kevlar thread and my knife, my saw, and it's going to be hard to do as a demo, but I'll try and. I mean, it's actually cutting. I think the problem is my vise isn't so stable, but I can see it's actually cutting through. I mean, yeah, I think on some green wood that would probably work not too bad in a pinch. It does like to twist though, so you have to bear that in mind. But again, in a pinch, I suppose it would work. So next up, I've got the Padlock shim, and this should work as long as it's not double locked. So you put that in, maybe just give it a slight curve if I can, and put that in, and just try to get underneath the teeth. And if you do, then it will release the ratchet. Now, I think if it's double locked, that's going to be difficult, but it can work on these two. These are ratchet teeth, yeah, two ratchet teeth ones where you're sort of trying to shim across them like that and push out the teeth on the cuff itself. So if that was double locked, that wouldn't be able to work, but this can work in a set of handcuffs which aren't double locked and push them apart. So we also have this shim and key and saw. So yes, it's a real multi-tool, this one. So let's have a go at that. This has been cut at one end halfway through to thin down one end, so that might work better. And let's have a go. It still doesn't quite work its way, does it? Just trying to think, does it work its way underneath those teeth? A bit hard to do. No, I'll put it around the other way. Got a bit of a bend in this now. Let's try and do the push the cuffs, assuming it's not double locked. Oh, sorry, too far. Yeah, that does work again, just the same. But yeah, it's still hard to do unless it's you know, if it was double locked. So now let's double lock these and see whether I can use the key to unlock the double lock, which would make both the shims easier as well if that happened. So just put that in at the bottom and turn this. Oh, it's quite hard. Managed to get down the other side. Yeah, we did it. Look, we've moved that double lock out, which then means that I can then get in on the other side and use the handcuff key part to unlock the cuff. So yeah, the handcuff key bit works quite well. Bit of deformation, it's very, very thin. Let's have a look at the saw again on this bit. This is the same sort of tool. That works all right, you know, again, in a pinch. And I think the file is a little bit thin, but if you're going to try to file your nails, oh, actually that works really well on your nails. Okay, well, it's a great nail file, and you could probably file something static, so you hold it like this and file. So if you needed to file something down, again, for shavings or whatever, you've got that option as well. So yeah, I mean, again, in a pinch, right? As far as I understand, this latch hook is for trying to lift latches over the other side of a gate that's locked by a latch on the other side. It won't help you if it's also padlocked, but we'll have a go, see if this can just open a standard gate latch.
12 seconds later.
I have to say, I could actually see this being quite useful. Especially those times where I do accidentally lock myself out, it would be quite useful to use one of these on occasion. Then we have the micro handcuff key. I'm not sure what this bit does. I'm going to assume that you can fold this out to double lock a handcuff actually. So if you have handcuffs, you can use it to double lock. Then you should still be able to use the key, just fold it back a bit, to unlock like that, and the double lock that is, and then unlock the actual cuff like this. So yeah, I mean, all those functions work pretty well for a little key like this. This says shim again, and I guess it could also be used as another way to get into handcuffs. Again, if they're not double locked and you just squeeze in the shackle by one notch. But I think it might be thin enough for cheap combination padlocks. Maybe there's enough space between the wheels to unlock them too. So unintended? Not sure. Certainly the really thin one here should be able to not only be used as a decoder, but I reckon could get through underneath the locking mechanism in something which is a little bit harder to get into. Let's have a go. Ooh, it's a little bit too thin maybe. Yeah, let's have another go, see if we can do it. Okay, so we're definitely under the locking mechanism. Let's see if I can force it up without bending the tool. No, that's too weak. So I think it would definitely be able to be used as a shim to decode the wheels. So on those padlocks where you can feel your way through the to the open gates, but it's just a little bit too weak to lift up a stronger locking pull mechanism, and I did put a bit of a mangle in that, so that's a shame. So this says needle, and certainly wouldn't use it to suture a wound, but I've got some Kevlar thread here. But can you see a potential problem? This is just a spare polishing rag I have, but if I push that through, which it does, to be fair, go through, I don't know what you'd be sewing to make that easy. I mean, maybe if you were a skilled net maker, possibly that might be able to work, but I'm not quite sure what that does. I mean, certainly you could use it to double lock your handcuffs. I mean, that's possible. So here is the bypass knife, and this might work in lifting the locking pulls out of the way. So you can see it does on the see-through lock lift the locking pull out that side, turn it over, and let's see if I can get under this side as well. Yes, so that does actually work, and we just opened the lock. That's yeah, that's not bad. I mean, it's a bit hard to use, but it is, as long as you keep everything stable, possible, I think. Yeah, there you go. So this does work. I've wrapped a bit more of that Kevlar around this. I'm going to see whether I can use it as a bypass knife. I don't think it's going to be strong enough, and that's not what it's designed for, so it's a little bit unfair, but I do want to just try it. I mean, if it can work even once, that's kind of cool. I can get to the back. It's definitely sort of sharp enough. I don't know whether I can get the right leverage to make this bypass work. No, I don't think so. So just not quite strong enough or sharp enough to do the shackle bypass on shutter locks, I don't think. No, I can't get that to work. It wasn't designed for that, but thought it was worth a go. Now we've used these tools, let's put them back in here and maybe try to put a little bit of Kevlar around this to wrap it up and see if it goes back into a wallet, even though it's been used. Yeah, I mean, that works. Where's my card wallet? Would that go back in again? Yes, I'd probably put it in the other way around to protect that saw, but that would go back in. You could get another use or two out of it, and again, more if you weren't using all the tools at the same time. Let's just stick a bit of Kevlar around this as well. Not in a particularly neat way for brevity, but enough, you know, to put a couple of yards and or meters, whatever you like, and then pour that into a wallet. Yeah, I mean, why not? So let's do some conclusions on this card before we move on to the next one this time. So good stuff. Nice range of fun things on this card. I mean, that's pretty good. And I think they sell these for around, again, at the time of publishing this video, exchange rates, all the rest of it, around $17.50, around £20 per card, which is probably quite good in the US because obviously there'll be better shipping than if you were buying it from the UK. So nice range of tools. It is very compact. I haven't seen many cards like this with some like bypass things and keys and latch hooks and things like that. Well, you know, handcuff keys and latch hooks and things like that. So, you know, I think it's pretty cool. Cons, while some things do work quite well, so the pull bypass tool works in padlocks. A bit tricky to use because it's quite short, but it's possible. The handcuff shims all work. The decoder works for its intended purpose. The latch hook is quite good fun to use. The handcuff keys do work. So some of it does work, maybe not as well as a dedicated tool, but in a pinch. Some of it doesn't work quite so well. Namely, like things like the needle isn't great. I'm not sure what that shim here really does. It seems a little bit redundant compared to all the other things. It does work in very wide wheel gated cheap padlocks. I don't know if that was its intention. And because of its nature, there's a lot of things which might just fall out if it doesn't stick down fully, because especially this saw at the edge, that's not so good. So the cons are that whilst it does sort of work, nothing works absolutely brilliantly. You could use it in a pinch and it is a bit of fun. And there are a couple of things there which just don't work really very well at all, especially that needle and this knife. I've even got like carrot stain now on the back of my card. But that being said, I don't think this is like sold as a super serious tool, and what is there can work to the degree it works, as shown in my review. So if you like this kind of thing, this is really up your alley and you have space in your card, even if it's just a talking point or something to use in an absolute emergency, sure, why not? Before we move on, is there anything I would specifically do differently with this card? Yeah, I would get rid of this needle thing and the blade. I think that they don't really work in this kind of card, and I'd put in some other stuff. So maybe even a lockpick somewhere in this would be useful. I think there's enough redundancy in some of these handcuff key / shims that you could definitely remove some of those, stick in I don't know, even just a rake and a turning tool, and that would probably make this slightly better. But that's just my thoughts. Moving on to this bypass tool, and this is called a bypass card. There are a few manufacturers who make something like this, and I already can't get into it, which is definitely a thing. Oh, it's because the opening is at the front on this one. Let's open it up, and this works as you would probably expect. First things first, let's have a look. There's a ruler on here. I've got a ruler here, and this is in inches. So let's get this aside and let's see how accurate it is. That's actually not too bad, over 3 inches. I'd worry about the accuracy too far outside of that range, but if you really wanted to quickly measure the diameter of a pipe or rope or something like that, that would probably work for you, as long as you are into your inches. But it is made in the USA, so unlike the majority of the rest of the world, they still use imperial. There is a saw here as well. It's not particularly sharp, but if I get another length of popsicle stick, let's give this a go. I mean, it's definitely cutting through. It says Kevlar saw wrap, so if you had some wrap left over, some Kevlar wrap, you could definitely wrap this around. What would be useful is maybe to have that as a pull saw, to have some anchor points, but then that would probably get in the way of this part of the tool, which I'll explain later. But yeah, you could definitely wrap some Kevlar around this part as well, at like a small spool. I'm not sure what this would be for. You could maybe use it as a long latch hook, I guess. That could, I mean, honestly, that could work quite well. I suppose that, I'm just trying to think the way you use these. So for those of you who don't know, what normally happens is that you'd have a lock with a latch, maybe not with a security feature like this, and this would push in. And if you're from this side, you'd push this card in like this, and then you'd try to push that in. It's a lot easier when it's within a door frame, of course, because you've got the support of the frame either side. But that's what this part of the tool is for. It would push that in, and this part of the tool would work from the other side where it would latch over, and then you'd pull this tool through. And again, once it's supported by a door frame, you should be able to pull this through a latch like that. Not all door latches are particularly heavy, especially internal doors in hotels or rooms in offices. So a tool like this doesn't have to be like super strong, although it is particularly flexible. Let's give this a go on an internal door and just see whether it could slip a latch which would otherwise be locked. So yeah, that absolutely does work. I did find, however, on that internal door that I didn't have much to pull on once this had slipped over the latch. I think that is probably what that hole is for. It's to allow you to take a bit of cord. I've got this surprisingly strong Kevlar, and that means you could slip it down the inside of a door like this, and then you'd have something to pull on to slip the latch. So yeah, it's a little bit flexible, but it does clearly work as a bypass tool as intended, and a ruler, and a not particularly good but usable in a pinch saw. I forgot to mention in this video, but there is a little instruction manual that comes with the whole set. All the cards we bought separately, and at the moment it seems that there is an offer for the whole set of 4. I don't know if it's going to be there at the time I publish this video, but it's currently on sale for around 51 UK pounds or 45-ish US dollars, I think. As I said before, you can buy all these cards separately, and they can be bought as a whole kit, which at the moment, looking at their website, the Grimm Workshop website, this is on sale for around £51, which is around, again, at the time of filming, about 62 US dollars or thereabouts. Clearly check their website, because I don't know when I'm going to publish this or when you're going to watch it, and the exchange rates and all those kind of things. The sale might not be on. It's otherwise around £72, I think. So yeah, definitely worth a look at these if you are interested in a set of lockpick and escape cards as seen here. So yeah, I mean, my overall conclusions with all of these cards are everything to a degree works. Some things don't, but most of the things do work as intended. They are a lot more difficult to use than standard tools. They are clearly to be used in an emergency, in a pinch. They're a bit of fun, maybe not to be taken too seriously, but nevertheless they do have a functionality to them, which means that I could see how some people would want to carry a couple of these in their wallets if they're allowed to do so in the jurisdiction they live in without getting into trouble with the law, which you certainly don't want to do. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I'd love to know yours. Please leave them below. I do read as many comments as I can and reply to as many as I can. If you like content like this, want to see more like it, then please do subscribe. If you want to drop me a like, that really helps my channel out too, and I'll see you all next time.